Good people of Florida, it is Studio 67 here live from Orange County. Peter Abello here with JW from TECO. Good morning. Nice to have you on the podcast. How are you doing today?
Good morning. I'm doing well. Happy to be here in Orange County, Florida with you.
Yes, it is middle of the summer. We are in a very cold hotel conference area, but it is steaming outside. I'm sure I haven't yet had a chance to go outside.
You can guarantee it is.
But folks, here we are from our annual conference. We have a bunch of corporate sponsors with us, our friends in action here in Florida, and our very favorite TECO Energy here. Let's dive in a little bit of TECO's history and TECO's what you guys do.
So TECO, we are one of Florida's largest. We start that one again.
He'll edit it.
Perfect. TECO is one of Florida's largest investor-owned utilities, located in Tampa, Hillsborough County, covering a little bit of Pinellas County and Polk County as well. Been around since 1899, so quite a bit of history over there.
126 years.
Yep. As you can imagine, very imprinted on that community, very deep roots there. And that's one of the great things about the company is we're not just providing energy and the prosperity and security that energy brings, but being able to be entrenched in that community and really invest in the people, places, and what they do to make the west coast of Florida great.
Absolutely. And numbers-wise, how many folks do you guys really serve? In cities, counties, you have a...
Right, yeah. Well, as you know, that's a very growing area. So by the day, we're adding on folks by the hundreds, but just under about 1 million customers.
Wow.
From a residential standpoint, obviously growing rapidly in Polk County from a commercial industrial standpoint. So big things happening at all times in Florida, but particularly an area that we are very blessed to serve.
Absolutely. I guess sticking to the history, how has TECO's relationship with local governments evolved over time?
I think it evolves probably week by week as it goes. But as local governments have more and more pressure from different angles, we hope that we continue to be a partner, that we outreach to our local governments. And that's, I'm on the regional affairs team. That's our bread and butter, is making sure that those relationships between our local governments and their constituents, and that's kind of triangle of effect, right? So one of the things we're trying to do is constantly understand where they're coming from. You're always going to have conflicting opinions regarding policy, interpretation, outcomes, but everyone has the same goal in mind. And as long as we can share that vision and be in conversation at all times, that's the evolution. Things are going to ebb and flow from an outcome standpoint, but as long as we're at least attempting to sing from the same hymnal, as they say,
absolutely,
then I think we're doing our best there.
Good. Well, TECO and Florida counties are connected together when it comes to storms rolling through the state. I know that Florida has a very rich history with storms. I personally have a rich history with storms. I grew up in Miami. In my youth, I've seen plenty roll by. What does coordination look like between TECO, local governments, or TECO itself? Just give me, I guess, an overview of storm preparation, storm mitigation, resiliency, the whole 9 yards.
Absolutely. Great question. From a county interaction standpoint on that, it's a 365 coordination with our county partners, any of our municipal partners as well. And it has to be that way because for most of us as lay folks that are homeowners, own businesses, you start getting ready for storm season when we start talking about it, right?
Absolutely.
When it's on the horizon, you see it on the local news.
Come June.
Exactly. And we all know that cadence. Well, for TECO, the cadence is 24/7, 365. We are ready at all times. We just did a major storm prep event, tabletop exercise, where we go through what it would look like for multiple days in our emergency center to make sure that we know what we're doing, we see any blind spots. But again, it's not just the work of prepping for if a storm comes, right? It's all of the little work when it comes. Exactly. Very astute point. And one of the big things that we're doing is our storm protection plan, or as we call it in short, SPP, is state mandated or state legislation that allows all of the IOUs in the state to really aggressively pursue resiliency projects, everything from undergrounding power lines that you see running in front of your home or behind your home, strengthening the feeder lines that are bringing power into that area, substations, anything that could affect resiliency during a storm, reliability. That's what we're attacking. The idea is we keep the lights on as long as we can. When the lights go out, we're able to get them up as quickly, efficiently, and affordably as we can. So this is a huge thing that we've been able to accomplish miles and miles of undergrounding, making homes more secure from outages. And again, there's ancillary benefits that this is intended to protect our state in the face of a major weather event. But as we know, most people from the Northeast or the West Coast would think a Wednesday storm in Florida is a major weather event. So when those blow through, you also have the ancillary benefit of you're not losing your power necessarily for 30 minutes at a time. So many folks work from home. So many folks that are older need equipment. There are children that need it. So those things are important too. While not the point, it's a great ancillary benefit. And we've seen tons of progress in our outages from a day-to-day standpoint.
And I, for one, have seen the state and our folks like you guys, TECO and other utility companies respond beautifully and quickly to these crazy storms we've had in the past 5 years. I mean, between Ian, the 3 storms we had in, was it 24?
Yeah, seems like yesterday.
And Helene, Milton, and Debbie. Helene and Milton, that was crazy. But I guess I've always been interested on this subject. I took a emergency management certification course as part of my schooling at Florida State. So when it comes down to a large area being affected, what is the strategy? How do you prioritize, I guess, which gets the more resource? I'm not saying you're picking favorites or anything like that, but is it hardest hit first? Or I guess just walk me through a little bit of that.
So it's pretty complex, but in a nutshell standpoint, right? Look at it from a residential standpoint, right?
Okay.
We're certainly getting hospitals and places like that up as quickly as possible.
Critical area points.
Exactly. Critical infrastructure, critical operations are going to come up first.
Right.
Then from there, and again, most of this is affecting residents, we're going to prioritize the areas that we can have the greatest impact as quickly as possible.
Right.
And so, we're not going to go to the 500 homes over here that it's going to take us a day and a half to fix.
Right.
We're going to go to the 12,000 homes over here that we can get fixed in about 6 hours. Right. And it's way more complex than that. And I'll be honest, I probably couldn't explain to you exactly how they get all of that done, but
it's very scientific.
Right. So
and statistics and numbers. And
exactly. We run lots of different algorithms and things, and folks practice these things all year long. But that's kind of how it's sort of triaged in that manner. It can seem very much like we do pick favorites because you're always the last one to get your lights on, because once your lights are on, you're not paying attention to who else is there out.
Right.
So always know that that's what our crews are doing. And it's a complex and obviously very dangerous operation. So it can be slow going for a while. And we bring so many folks for Milton and Helene from other parts of the country to help us because we don't have enough man and woman power to be able to take care of those things. So it's also coordinating these people that don't know our system like the back of our hand, like our folks do.
Right.
So it is very complex. It's all hands on deck, no matter if it's from President CEO Archie all the way down the totem pole. Everybody pitches in, everybody has a job, and we all know what those are. So again, it's that 24/7 coordination, communication between our teams and with our county partners, because we cannot do it without our county partners and the coordination they do between, emergency response, law enforcement, different things like that. So these are all things we have to be coordinated on. And that's not just during and after the storm. It's the months of cleanup that we need to coordinate on as well, because if we have a crew go out to, again, harken back to underground a power line while folks are trying to get the debris cleaned off of their street, it's not the greatest situation in the world if we're impeding that progress, even if we're trying to make progress in another direction. So just trying to constantly be thinking about the different ways that we're doing things and the outcomes of those operations on the positive and on the negative side sometimes.
Right. No, and that's a perfect segue into communication. I know the state and local governments have a very methodical way of communicating to our residents to prepare for a storm, how to deal with the storm. I guess I want to know how y'all complement that. I know that there's some things that you guys realize you'll leave to the authorities. And then there's some things that you could communicate to your customers or communicate to the general body. I'm interested to know in what forms. I don't live in Tampa, so I don't, but I know that, for example, in Tallahassee, you'll get messages from Tallahassee utilities and calls and pamphlets and stuff like that. Just how does TECO handle it?
Yeah, honestly, it's a very similar way that the state handles it, and probably very similar to most other utilities that cover different territories. Constant communication ahead of a storm. And again, I'll back up a little bit. It's starting to communicate. We do events all through this time of year, starting months ago, reminding folks from homeowners.
People forget.
Oh, absolutely.
Floridians, maybe not, but folks that snowbirds and stuff like that, they
But
forget.
you make a good point. We have so many people moving into the state every day. They don't necessarily know what to do. Like, I grew up here. It sounds like you grew up here. We kind of get it, but even we can get lackadaisical because it takes one big storm that was supposed to hit that misses, and all of a sudden we're like, it's always much ado about nothing. We humans have short memories for a reason, but reminding folks of things that can happen. Something that the city of Tampa has done that's to give them a pat on the back in combination with Hillsborough County is created a video that shows what a real Andrew level storm hitting Tampa would look like. And I think it really does sober folks to the
Oh,
fact
yeah.
this is it might be a limited possibility that these things are happening, but it's a possibility. And it takes a lot less to get ready for it than to deal with the aftermath of not being ready for it. So we're constantly doing events in partnership with our municipal partners, our county partners, and getting the word out. There's constant communications to folks digitally. If they prefer, if they're still getting paper bills, they get all that information in there. And it's our team and regional affairs going out and talking directly to residents and business owners, meeting them where they are, reminding the people as simple as, yeah, make sure you got enough water. Make sure you have batteries. The things, again, that seem so elementary, but it bears also reminding folks that being safe is the utmost importance. We'll get your power back on. Might take a few days, might take 5 days, depending on what's going on, but we're going to get it up and running, make everything safe as fast as possible. You make sure you make your family, whatever property you need to secure, and that'll happen. But that's kind of what we do through the year. It sounds, again, very rudimentary, but that's kind of what it takes to speak to our constituency when it's coming to reminding them of the simple things, not overcomplicating it. And again, businesses are another important aspect of making sure that we're in communication with them, is that's a really scary thing too, is that's your house is one thing, you've got insurance, your livelihood, having your business shut down for a week. So again,
And people depend on those businesses too.
correct,
So it's
right?
like a two-way street.
Yep,
Or double-edged
absolutely.
sword.
So again, very complex, but that's our communication method is big, wide, and simple.
Well, good. I'm going to move into real quick, biggest theme that we see. I'm a lobbyist here for FAC. And one of the biggest things we see in Tallahassee during legislative session is we tackle a lot of growth issues. Florida is exploding. I guess I want to touch on grid reliability or just how will you guys have projection when you see, I'm sure you all study population, all that. Just you're just making sure that it's all evened out and stuff. How do y'all deal with growth? How do you look at growth? Obviously, we try to invite it. We try to find a balance and make sure that everybody gets the efficient service and stuff like that. Just what are your thoughts?
So again, this is a very complex equation that they're doing constantly, and we are constantly monitoring growth because it's important to our regions. You see what's happening in Polk County right now. That's an area that's
Fastest growing county in the state, I believe.
exactly.
Yeah.
At one point, I believe in the entire country, it might have
Wow.
been. So it's a complex issue, and there's lots of people worried about it. Roads, hospitals, and you see that going on there. So it's one of those things we always are making sure that we have excess capacity. We're required to, but it's one of those like we are from a generation standpoint always looking at how we make sure we're staying ahead, because you don't just get to throw a power plant up and throw some more megawatts on the barbecue, right? You got to map these things out for a long time. So we have a lot of different strategies, being able to spin up if we need to for in the summertime. Right. Florida is also complex from not just in migration standpoint.
It's seasonal.
Right. Summertime
Yeah.
to nighttime, electric cars starting to be parked more and more often in garages. There's
I
all
didn't
these
even think
complexities.
about that.
Right.
Wow.
We don't want those being charged in the middle of the day, right?
Right.
It'd be nice if we could do that at nighttime. So again, it's this constant ebb and flow, no pun intended, of energy that is so complex. It was one of those things that kind of amazed me. I think most people, energy or turning the lights on felt like magic. Didn't seem like there was much involved in it, but it is a very complex issue. But to your point, constantly monitoring and working with our partners at the counties. And it's not just the in-migration of folks and their families, it's the jobs that come with it, right? The industry that comes with it, commerce that comes with it. We're moving a lot of, again, in Polk County, I'll keep hitting on that one, there's a lot of commercial activity going on in Polk County that we have to be able to serve as well. And that's extremely important to be able to do, because if all of a sudden we can't serve the new factory that's moving in around Winter Haven, that's going to provide 250 less jobs for the folks in Polk County. So again, it's not just the families, not the apartments, single family homes. It's the businesses that need to be served, restaurants, industrial spots things like that. So it is a complex pizza to put together at the end of the day.
Well, it's very comforting that you guys factor in everybody, but it should be, and I know that's the way that you guys operate. Now, AW, let's move on to a couple fun questions, if that's okay with you. I got one or
Absolutely.
two. Big outdoors guy. I love Florida and every corner and everything it has to offer. I'm going to ask you, beach or springs?
Ooh, this is tough. So I'm originally from Madison County, so
Madison Blue.
absolutely. So
I don't even think I can answer that one.
it's tough.
I grew up in
think
Miami, and now I'm in by
yeah,
Wakulla once a week. So.
yeah, we'll go. The great question to be able to ask folks in the state, right? You're blessed to be able to do both within about 45 minutes of each other in a lot of places.
Right.
I think at this point, might be a beach fella. That's the right answer for being a Tampa guy. The beaches are beautiful here. And again, from Tampa, you can be at some really beautiful springs within less than an hour. So at least we don't have to pick.
Right. Me, I grew up in Miami, going to the beach almost every day, but now
Yeah.
I'm in Tallahassee, and more northern Florida has more springs and the fresh water. I don't know, I'm starting to agree with me a little bit more. And another Florida-centric question, what is something of Florida, whether it be a product, a person, a idea, something, if you can think off the top of your head, that you would share with, you had to go to NACO, you had to go to one of these national conferences, that would be, what do you love about Florida?
I think something that's underrated about Florida is how inviting it is as a state. And again, I think it's one of those things we were talking about before. It almost goes, at this point, there are folks moving in every day. And I know that poses its own challenges for the state, but being a place that folks want to come to, that they can find community in quickly, is one of the things I love about Florida and always have. It doesn't get enough credit being a very international state.
Absolutely. That's what I was going to say.
Right. We think a place like Toronto, when we think, and LA to some extent. You're from Miami, like their place is much more international than that. Right here in Orlando, right? You could go all around Orlando and find little pockets of town where you can find the best Korean food, the best Dominican food, right? That's crazy that we don't talk about that more. And again, even, Tampa, like the history that we have that's multicultural and what that means, right? Because it's the product of being a place where people can come, find a community, intermingle with the culture that's already there and build on it. And that's something we probably should talk about more in Florida.
I totally agree. I mean, not people-wise diversity, but I mean diversity, history diversity.
Yep.
And we have the oldest city in the country. We back to the Spanish colonial times, and a little bit of everything for everybody. I mean, but I like city or urban or more rural. I like more coastal or more inland. I like more north or more south. And you can have a little bit of everything.
Absolutely.
Quiet or loud. But well, thank you so much for you. Thank you so much for TECO for being here. Thank you for being part of this podcast.